I'm Geoff Nemnich.
And I'm Rick Paillet.
And we're the hosts of The Last Stand. Coyote hunting is my passion.
And coyote calls are my livelihood.
And together we aim to bring you the best predator hunting tips, tricks, and tactics, right down to The Last Stand.
The Last Stand, presented by Lucky Duck Predator Calls. We are the masters of deception. Swagger bipods. Shoot with confidence, shoot with swagger. OnX Hunt. Know where you stand. Hornady. Accurate, deadly, dependable.
So we're back in the Sandhills of Nebraska. It's the middle part of February. Probably one of my favorite places in the whole country to hunt coyotes. That's where I've grown up hunting coyotes, is the Sandhill country. Big, vast ranches, huge cattle country. I'm heading up to hunt with my good buddy Matt, and you know, this time of year, these ranchers are busy, and they're getting ready to calve. If they haven't started calving already, they're getting ready to move cows. They're moving hay, getting ready for all this, and you know, it just pans out that Matt gets tied up and he can't hunt with me. So I'm running solo on this hunt. Hopefully, maybe he can break free for a couple hours and hunt with me. But if he can't, it's going to be something fairly new to me. I don't really ever hunt by myself. Right off the bat, my first solo stand of the day, and it bites me in the butt. Coyote comes in from the hard left, not where I'm set up. And as a left-handed shooter, you know, I had to move my gun. The coyote kind of saw us, but not. You know, wasn't the greatest footage, but we did kill a coyote on that first stand, and we were off to a good start. One of my favorite things about hunting coyotes late season is when you call in a group of coyotes. I mean, that's really my ultimate goal, is to get that one chance a day to call in a group of mean coyotes that are fired up, that are wanting to kick some butt. There we go. Three of them. Just gonna let them get in as close as I can in here and get them stopped. Give them a minute here. Just be patient. They're only a couple hundred yards, but I'm gonna try to get them closer, so I have a better chance of killing. Here we go. I'm gonna kill that lead one, Sean. Right here on this hill. Where's he at? A little rodeo there. Oh man, that was exciting. God dang it. That's exactly what you're hoping for during breeding season. Calling in a group of 2 or 3 like that are fired up, that are mad, that are mean. They were coming into nothing but fights. That stand, I started off with Psycho Serenade, went into Schoolyard Brawl. It was maybe 4 minutes into Schoolyard Brawl, they came rolling out of those hills. Took a little patience. I had them right out here in front of me about 200 yards, and one was howling at us. And at that point, I knew I had him. I just had to be a little patient here. The other one came running in right here. He stopped right here on the hill about 80 yards. I got the second one running out there, After that, I was kind of all discombobulated trying to get on that that third one, but I let some bullets fly. But 2 out of 3 ain't bad for solo. I'll take it. Anybody that says you don't need a 20-round mag, you need to call in a triple like that where you got about 300-400 yards of shooting at them. I didn't quite run my mag dry, but I'll guarantee you there's only a couple shells left in it. Let's see what we got here. Another female. So, you know, that makes my mind wonder now. I mean, this is a young pup coyote. So I'm almost wondering if that was kind of a family group still, kind of bunched up. Man, it's hard saying. That's what makes coyote hunting exciting. You know, just when you think you got it figured out that was a female and 2 males, ends up being 2 females. Let's see what that is here. 627 yards. No, chip shot. It was only 180. I know now that it kind of all unfolded in my head, the reason that when the coyotes split, those running coyotes, this one I kind of saw that maybe it was going to get down in the cut, and that's kind of why I switched to this one to try to get it killed. It worked out. I just didn't get that far one killed here. I had a couple good shots at it. I feel like I should have had it, but I'll take 2 out of 3. After the double, we go on about a 6-stand dry spell, which is what you're going to find this time of year. You know, I'm not anticipating to kill coyotes every other stand. You know, you're going to get into pockets of coyotes, you know, here and there, but you're going to have dry spells trying to find these coyotes, especially in this big open country. Middle part of the day, we get down into a big creek bottom, a place where I've killed coyotes in the past. So I have high hopes that middle part of the day, a little bit of wind, I'm looking for, you know, rough, rugged country where coyotes are going to be laid up, bedded up, that we can get into as close as possible to call these coyotes in. Trees, right here, see him? Come right here. Come right up to the call. Got him, Sean? There we go. Perfect. The call's been playing approximately 1 minute, 15 seconds. He comes around the edge of the bushes, he checks up, and at that point I'm watching body language. I always like to err on the side of patience, and at that particular moment I saw that coyote kind of make a little move to his left as he was looking right at us, and that told me that he saw us. Whether he skylined us or just saw us, I knew the gig was up and it was time to take the shot. I was guessing in the scope, I thought he looked like a dinky little coyote. He is just this year's little female. This year's coyote. A lot of times these 10-month-old coyotes like this don't go into heat, you know, so she'll just be by herself, hanging out down here. Plenty of cover, probably a creek right there, plenty of water. I'm sure there's plenty of rabbits and everything else for her down here. We had a good idea there'd be one down here. We saw quite a few coyote tracks in the little bit of snow that was left down there, but good looking Sandhills coyote right there. Once again, I like to start the first half off with Lucky Pecker. If it's working, I stick with it until I see something otherwise that tells me to play something different. So as I'm scanning on this stand, I have my rifle kind of pointed here. I noticed this coyote that pops up off to our left over this hill about 150 yards. I'm gonna let him go down the dip and then we'll get moved. It's freezing right now. The coyote freezes, you freeze. You know, the worst thing you can do at that point is to pick up your gun and swing over there real quick. So I just kind of froze where I was at, hoping that this coyote was going to make his way down into this little dip and disappear, which would give me a chance to move. Okay, I'm going to kill him right here. No hurry. Woo! 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 shoulder. There we go. Pup distress switched over here. That coyote came in from just the hard left where we weren't anticipating. I think he had a skyline here on this little ridge top. We're tucked down far enough if anything would have came out front, but he kind of made a little loop on us and pegged us right there about 125, but all he did was see us. No need to panic. Just let him stop and give you a good shot. Male coyote here. Probably, yeah, for sure last year's coyote. Good bullet, man. I've said it before, I'll say it again, those 53 grain Hornady VMAXs I shoot. There's no better bullet, in my opinion, out of a 223 AR like this. I mean, that coyote was quartered away just a little bit, tucked it right behind the shoulder. I think a little bit of the bullet made it through the other side, but he spun, and it was a matter of seconds, and he was out for the count. Good looking coyote. A little easier drag than last time though. That's what I like. So the very next stand we get in, it's a really picturesque stand. We got some rough choppy hills off to our left, which is the upwind half of the stand. A little more openness off to the right, drops off into a river bottom down there about 600 yards. Once again, I like to go with Lucky Pecker. Right here, Sean. Down the bottom, right here. I'm gonna have to kill him right here. Right here. God, the old drive-by, man. That coyote was on just a trot right here, and as soon as he saw that decoy spin on top of that revolt, he turned it on to Mach 4. He came flying out of that so fast, I think I shot behind him on the first shot. Wasn't the best shot placement on the first one, but I was just happy to get a bullet into him so I could anchor him on the second. It's only been about 3.5 minutes. We're gonna rip some pup distress here. Who knows, might get another one coming here. You know, even though it's late season and we're keying on paired up, aggressive, mean coyotes, not all the coyotes are paired up. Not all the coyotes are mean. You still have a lot of young coyotes like this one that are transient, that aren't gonna breed, that are still just doing their own thing. You know, and sometimes, you know, calling coyotes is like fishing. If you find a sound that it seems like they're working to, keep after it. You know, the last 3 coyotes we've called in have all been on Lucky Pecker. So that's what I'm sticking to. I haven't given up on the coyote fights and the pup distresses and the coyote-based sounds. I've just been saving them for later in the stand when I want to get a little more aggressive. So the sun's setting on us fast. I think we have time for maybe 2 stands. We had to make a run into a pasture to get the wind right. Something that's very important. When we get into the stand, there's a ridge, and the ridge almost splits the stand in half, with the upwind half and the downwind half. And if we'd have had 2 shooters or I had a buddy with me, I would have put maybe myself in the call on the upwind half and him down on the downwind. But when you're by yourself, you got to pick. And I always tell people, don't give up the downwind half, because those coyotes from the upwind side are sooner or later going to show up on your half of the stand. So that's what we do. We set up on the downwind half. I was kind of in hustle mode, hoping to get this stand and another one in. So anytime I know I'm only going to make maybe an 8 or 10 minute stand, I want a fast response from coyotes. And over the years, just from experience, usually the fastest responses you get sometimes are using the coyote-based sounds, like the coyote fights, the pup distresses. So I like to go with Sig kicking ass right from the get-go. We're chasing the sun now. We're hoping to get in one more stand after this. This might end up being our last stand, depending on what happens here. We got down into this big bowl. Wind's kind of cutting back across, right to my left here hard. Obviously getting down into these bowls, we're hoping a coyote's gonna obviously come look down in here. We're tucked into the shadows. It's gonna be a little tough if something comes over this hill to the right. Good thing we have the wind though. But what we're really hoping for is a coyote to pop up right on the sunny side of this hill right here and look down in here. And once we get him to drop in the bowl, there's one right here on the skyline right here. Here he comes. When he gets on this hill right here, I'm gonna stop him. There he is. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly why you get down off the skyline in the shadows if you can. That coyote had no idea we were here. Now on this setup, we had to pick. I'm shooting by myself, so there's a ridgeline runner right there, and we either had to pick the upwind half or the downwind half. I usually, 99% of the time, I'll pick the downwind half for that exact same reason. That coyote was upwind. He had to come over the ridgeline. Either he was going to come right to the call or he'd have to circle around. It's only been about 3 minutes. We're going to keep calling. Hopefully get one on the downwind half now. 75 yards, right above the call. Presents me with a great chest-on shot. We get our 7th coyote of the day. So we're heading out. We know we only have a half day to hunt. Matt's optimistic that he can maybe get free for a little bit. So I decided to do a little solo hunting for the morning, and it's a struggle. We're making stands. It's a bluebird day. It's warm. We're just not seeing a lot of coyotes. But finally I get the text from Matt that he's freed up and ready to go, and he's got a little honey hole in mind that we're gonna go to. About 4 minutes in, we see a hard charging coyote bailing off the hill. You got it, Matt?
Yeah, we can get him stopped. Holy.
And he made a great sprint and running shot on this coyote, you know, probably 10 or 15 yards from the call. Did you have your scope on about 15 power on that one?
6.
6. Man, that thing was cooking, man.
And it was still too much.
It was still too much. I thought, you know, we're sitting kind of, you know, we don't have a whole lot of cover. We're tucked into the side hill, but there's not many yuccas, nothing. I thought, that coyote's gonna come right over that hill, stop, and you're gonna shoot him right there real quick before he spun and leave. He never once looked at us. He was gonna eat it.
Should have seen him through the scope on a dead run that close.
Looks like a good coyote. Let's go get him. Bigger, older coyote.
That ain't bad.
Heck no. Right where you're aiming, right?
It was
That's one of those you
like
just hope to
about
hit him.
that far in front of him.
Yeah, that thing
Even
was,
that close.
Yeah, 40 yards, and you're still putting it out in front of him. I mean, it's crazy how fast they move. People underestimate on these running coyotes really how far you got to lead them, even on a close shot. I mean, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, people are shooting behind them. But good job, buddy. Thanks for having us out, man. Appreciate you letting us hunt. It's been an awesome couple days out here. That makes coyote number 10 for a day and a half. It's not too shabby for February.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. And to roll them up and just an awesome way to end an awesome hunt.